Hi everyone, my name is Rylie Essington.
What is the date today?
Today is December 20th, 2020.
It's December the 2nd, 2020.
I'm currently 20 years old.
I'm 21. What would you say is the biggest accomplishment in your life up to this point?
Getting accepted to medical school at such a young age.
I finished my undergrad in 3 years and I got accepted into medical school right away. I created my own course and I'm in a relationship with my best friend.
I've also started an organization that I'm really proud of called Balanced Beginnings. And I started this initiative in the summer with the intention of supporting kind of vulnerable youth in Calgary who may have been more susceptible to some of the downfalls that COVID may have introduced for certain communities.
What is the most important thing to you right now?
The most important thing to me right now,
Getting a very strong foundation of medical knowledge.
I would say, is to hold on to and definitely when possible spend quality time with friends and family.
Are you more confident this year compared to last year? Oh, absolutely.
Something that I will say is it's incredibly daunting to be at the age of 19 knowing you're about to enter medical school. I had a lot of doubt in myself this time last year, and I certainly struggled to overcome sort of that imposter syndrome. But I can certainly say that my confidence has grown a lot since this time last year and since starting medical school here at Queen's.
Having a degree under my belt and getting into medical school, there's something very validating about that.
Do I consider myself successful?
Yes, but not because of any sort of other milestones.
So I do think that I have come a long way and I've achieved a lot of things for my age. So I would just say that there's probably a difference between having an impressive resume and feeling fulfilled in my experiences.
It's because I make an active effort to pursue any dream that I set for myself.
My definition of being more successful this time next year.
Keep following the formula. Anything that I want myself to achieve, I either make a plan for it and achieve it later, or I make a plan for it and I achieve it now.
So something I would love to do within the next year, if possible, considering the COVID restrictions, would definitely be to travel. I think this is extremely important. Also, considering being a physician in the future, having empathy and deep understandings for patients and the diverse experiences, definitely a personal trait that I would like to grow.
What's the biggest event in the news right now? Coronavirus.
So 2020 was definitely all about COVID-19.
And what's a positive thing in the news right now?
But something positive that just came is our vaccine in Canada was just approved.
There was the news that Azerbaijan won the war and the battle for the Karabakh region.
Do I have a significant other?
Yes.
So I do currently have a boyfriend, yes. Been together almost 3 years now.
Are you happy, or would you be happy with a significant other right now?
Yes, I'm extremely happy with my boyfriend. We've been together almost 3 years now.
I'm very happy.
One thing I will say is we do long distance, so it's not easy. So be sure, to anybody who's watching or to future me, be sure this is the right thing for you. What was the lowest point of your year?
It would have to be the first half of May.
I had a really difficult time throughout my first semester of med school.
I had 6 conferences planned and I organized funding for all 6 of them, but that didn't happen. And I was also supposed to go on grad trips and just have a lot of fun in between, like getting into med school and finishing undergrad.
It was difficult because I had to meet a lot of people over Zoom. I definitely found this kind of constant feeling of isolation, and it was extremely difficult, and it definitely kind of took a toll on my mental health at times.
What do you not want to take for granted this year? I don't want life to stop just because a lot of barriers are there to having fun.
Something I said for the next year is I will never complain about an 8:30 lecture as long as it is in person.
I feel like I can't organize interesting life events anymore, and I don't want to have that attitude.
My favorite movie right now?
It's by Studio Ghibli, and it's called Howl's Moving Castle. It's a pure work of art.
Is probably Good Will Hunting.
Do you feel medical school is worth it?
The online experience of medical school is certainly a challenge.
I don't know if it was worth absolutely everything.
It won't be my whole experience in med school, so I'm kind of just trying to trust that it will all be worth it in the end.
But the things that I participated in, such as everything that was education related, that was worth it.
Do I feel pressure?
Actually, not from my medical school. They're very understanding and they practice a lot of compassion.
All the time.
But the pressure definitely comes from me.
I am 20 years old. I'm in a class with previous pharmacists, nurse, physiotherapists. People have their PhDs. There's a lot of parents. So it's difficult, you know? Everybody has different experiences. Everybody has a lot more experience than me in a lot of ways.
Is there anything that annoys you now that didn't a year ago?
Definitely anti-vaxxers.
In consideration,
I wasn't as invested in that as a problem, and now that I'm seeing the effects of COVID, kind of how difficult it will be to achieve herd immunity if people don't participate.
from the people that matter, I guess.
What advice would I give myself when applying to medical school?
I wouldn't give any sort of strategic advice. I would just like to send a positive message that
I promise you can sleep at night, everything's going to be fine.
you're smart, you're capable, and acceptance into medical school does not in any way validate that.
Everyone applying to medical school is going to be a lot more like you than you think. You know, it's competitive to get in, but once you're in, like, it's a completely different experience from what you might expect. Everybody in the class is just as excited to be here as you are and hopefully get to know you in the process.
Where do you wish to be a few years from now?
So currently I would like to be a family doctor or an OBGYN.
Well, hopefully finished medical school, passed my licensing exam in a residency program where I like what I'm learning and I like the people who I'm around.
Okay, what's been my best approach to doing well in school?
Okay, so like research shows that you need multimedia input of information. So like flashcards, coloring books.
So I would say I have about 1,000 study techniques that I would give to, first years coming in, whatever.
Lectures, podcasts, different types of the same material, but just delivered in different ways. And then the other half of your time should be spent on active recall, preferably spaced repetition.
Just established a routine and stayed with it.
Best approach to doing well in school has been studied very hard. That doesn't mean that you'll be happy doing that.
Is there anything new that I'm hoping to do this year?
I do look forward to shadowing. I want to spend a lot of time just walking around a doctor, different types of doctor and different types of clinic.
So one thing I'd really like to do before the end of the year, I only have 10 days, but I really want to wrap up a research paper I did in the summer about inflammatory brain disease and hopefully get it published as soon as possible. This is my first publication, so...
What is your favorite food?
I would say thin crust pizza.
It would have to be dushpera.
Has really changed the game for me this year. I don't really know why.
For people who don't know what that is, it is an Azeri soup made of tiny, tiny wontons that are like yay big.
What app do I use the most?
It would have to be Facebook Messenger to communicate with people.
Since entering med school, probably Facebook.
Followed secondly by Facebook, the app itself, so that I can get my dose of news and alerts.
But before, a few months ago, I definitely would have said TikTok.
Who is your best friend?
University best friends right now would probably be Vitusha and Martin. And my home best friend is Sam.
His name is Raf. He's an engineer. And I'm dating him right now.
What is the biggest change in your life that you're hoping to make? I really need to learn how to cook, if you can't tell.
I look forward to learning material that actually matters. So this is completely different than undergrad, where absolutely everything I learned was pretty much useless. What is the biggest thing you're struggling with?
So as a whole, I think for everybody, not just me, it's been an incredibly difficult year. Worldwide pandemic, who saw that coming?
So I get mad at myself when I forgot or like I can't easily recall information that I've been cramming into my head for months. I have to practice more self-compassion in that sense.
And it's been really hard to keep my own spirits up and spirits of my friends and family. And last but not least, what do I want to say to myself in 1 year?
I hope that I treated you well in this year, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
It's not that significant, but the gyms will probably be open this time next year, so you really have no excuse. Like, you need to go. Please